Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Iron Fist Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Black Tiger Steals Heart. Full spoilers for the episode, as always.
I hate this show. I hate this show. I hate this goddamn show.
Last episode gave us the funniest moment of the season, at least so far. I mean, for all we know, and the next three.
It's unlikely.
It's unlikely, but they could top that moment. I am, of course, referring to the "Have you got vanilla?" moment with Kyle and Harold. Check the last video for full thoughts on that. Uh, so so Colleen and Bocato, is that his name?
Bacato.
Bocato.
Bakuto.
Bakuto, right. It's a
Think
weird
so.
name. Bakuto, yes, I can see it now. Bakuto. So that's like her sensei, and they show up with a bunch of soldiers or whatever, the ninjas, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And they take Gao, and they take Danny, and they take Colleen, and she's like, "No, trust, it's okay, Danny, come with us." And that's where we left their plot off in the last episode. And we find out they have what is kind of I'm going to call it like an Xavier School for the Gifted style thing for
Yeah,
martial
it's
arts.
their own little community.
Yeah, one little community, and we find out the kid who was in Colleen's class, this is where the scholarship took him. This is
Yeah.
his education, and okay, fine. And there's a good 20 minutes of them just walking around and spouting out exposition like no tomorrow.
Oh, and you know what? It was pissing me off. Even with that, when they weren't talking. You know, when they were doing the bit where they were like, "Hey, follow these moves, and it'll give you your chi back."
Uh-huh.
He wasn't even looking at him. He was just doing the moves.
He also had his eyes shut for like half of it.
Exactly. And then the guy stopped, and he just carried on. It's like, you are literally making this up as you're going along now.
Well, yeah, after that fight, my problem would be that before he closed his eyes, my problem was that he was doing it in perfect time with them. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, surely he should be like, a little delay as he's watching
Yeah,
him
yeah.
do it
Watch
first.
the move, then you do it.
And whatever. Do you know what? It's a small potatoes.
I know,
when,
but it annoyed me at the time. Clearly, that was nothing
this
compared to
whole
later
scene,
on.
like, because it opens with Colleen and Danny waking up in bed together in her room or a room in this place. Then we cut to another scene, and then we come back here after the credits. And from when we come back here after the credits, Colleen and Danny are walking, and then Bakuto. Do you know what? It's the syllables. I can never remember what goddamn syllables are. Like, I've got all the consonants.
You don't know which order they're in.
Yeah. Bakuto shows up, and they start talking, and then he shows him his moves, and then he's like, "Colleen, go and let the cafeteria know we're coming for lunch," or whatever. And Bakuto and Danny keep walking and talking, and keep walking and talking about Iron Fist. Oh yeah, you know a lot about Iron Fist. Yes, they do. They get to their office, they keep talking. He shows them a little bit of footage of like an old school Iron Fist in black and white footage from the
That was
30s.
pretty cool. 40s, I believe.
Was it
And
40s?
I think that may have been his grandfather.
And it was the original, or at least it looked like the original outfit from the comics, with the bandana and all that.
Yeah, obviously it was kind of out of colour, so it's harder to see if they'd kept that. But
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it was black and white. So,
yeah.
and amusingly, the fight choreography in that little clip looked better than most of the show.
It did much better.
Dear. That said, there was actually this episode had definitely the best fighting of the entire season.
Oh, absolutely, without question.
It was like a consolation prize for the bullshit that came before it.
Do you know what I do hate though? So this is like the second, or at least second major time that they've done a hallway fight, and it feels like they're just trying to ape. Like, obviously we spoke how they aped certain things from Luke Cage in the structure, and this feels like, hey, Daredevil did a hallway fight and that went down well. Let's do our own.
To be fair, the highlight of the fighting in this isn't the hallway, though. It's afterwards when it's outside and there's
I
like tons
agree.
of people.
I noticed it as I was doing it because obviously there was the
Yeah.
one with the hatchet men earlier as well, and
Yes, this is the second hallway fight. But so, so what the point I was getting at though is this scene where it starts with Colleen and Danny and then switches to Danny and
Bakuto.
Bakuto. I can't want to say Batako. Bakuto. It switches to them. Then they go to the office, shows the footage. Like, this goes on for like 10 minutes of screen time. This scene lasts, and honestly, most of it is one of them telling the other one something that we already know.
Yeah, I almost don't remember what any of this conversation actually was because none of it was relevant to me. None of
Yeah.
it was new information. Very little, anyway.
The only thing, obviously, the footage and him saying, "Oh, I've studied Iron Fist for years because ever since I heard about it and I wanted to seek it out." Like that was all we really needed, and then a little bit about what this place is, which we got early on in the conversation. A lot of it in the middle just felt like, where's Gao? She's out of commission. She's taken care of. You don't have to know.
Yeah.
But I'd feel better if I knew. She won't trouble you. I promise. Ah, dear. But then Danny goes snooping. He finds the kid from Colleen's class who gives him some info. He sneaks into a place that's off limits.
Sorry, first I want to say how obvious he is in trying to get information from this kid. It's like, hey, you anywhere that's off limits? Oh yeah, back there. Oh really now?
It's pretty obvious. Yes, they're not gonna pretend. But he sneaks into their cells, their jail cells, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a jail cell, it's just a room that's locked and there's like a security camera. But Gao's mystical and knows that he's there and comes up and talks to him and plants this seed in his head. It's like, she was kind of poking at it last episode as well, but she came right out with it in this one and implied that this group was the very enemy that Danny was supposed to fight. So he goes back to Bakuto finds him.
Bakuto.
Bakuto finds him.
You were looking so impressed with yourself. You were like, "Oh, I got it without looking."
I got the consonants in the right order that time. That's improvement.
True.
Bakuto finds him, and he's like, "Oh well, I guess you found her. You know that she's out of commission then, and you know where she is. Okay, that's fine." But he still seems kind of seedy. But whatever. But Danny's starting to get suspicious. For the first time in this show, he's never questioned Harold, even though he seems sketchy as hell right from the get-go.
Even worse in this one, actually. So he's on the phone to Harold. We'll get to that properly in a bit. But he was like, "Oh, I thought you were dead." Harold's like, "No, it's all cool." I was like, "Oh, okay then." And then he proceeds to tell him all about this guy, everything where he is, even though he was told in the last episode that Harold was working with Gao the entire time.
That's right. Yeah.
What the hell is he playing at?
Yeah, so, Gao said he was working with him, and then he came back from the dead.
And then he told them everything that was happening. What?
Yeah, more on Harold later. So he goes back to Colleen, and he's looking upset, and she's like, "Danny, what's wrong? You're looking a little bit down in the dumps." And he's like, Gao's made me question things. Oh, like what? About everything? About you? Oh, in what sense? I'm paraphrasing here. I can't remember the dialogue word for word.
I think just my favourite part of all this sort of stuff is when it's Colleen with Bakuto earlier on, and she's like, "Oh, can we tell him?" And he's like, "Maybe not yet."
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
"Oh, please, I want to tell him."
Yeah, they were teasing it because they were together. It's like, "Oh, can we tell him?" And I'm worried how he'll take it. It's like, if he truly loves you, he will make the right choice.
And actually, this is a point I really hate. It's not just if he loves you; it's if he feels as strongly as you do about him. It's like, where have these strong feelings come from? It's been about a week, and for like 3 days of those, she basically hated him.
Yeah, she was very against him at first. It was very, very sort of quick turnaround. We spoke about that. I think it was episode 5, where all of a sudden she was like a giddy schoolgirl when he walked in the room, when it was never like that before.
From here's a relationship to they're madly in love.
Yeah, it's bullshit. But then he says it. He flat out just says, "Is this place? Are these people? Are they the Hand?" And she's like, and he's like, "God,
it's a
damn
different
it.
hand."
It's a different hand. What's the left hand?" And she's like, "What? That's Gao on her own. The drug stuff, that's Gao. She's like a separate faction of the Hand," which maybe explains some of your season 1 problems with Daredevil in retrospect, where maybe.
But then this doesn't even feel like the Hand that we got in Daredevil.
So no, it's not. No, but
what opens up more questions.
No, but what I'm saying is, if there's multiple factions, maybe Nobu and all those ninjas from Daredevil are again another branch.
Well, they should pick different names, because we've got now that leaves us with 3 separate branches of the Hand. I suppose they're all fingers.
That is exactly what I would say. We have 3 distinct, because back in season 1 of Daredevil, as you said, Gao was never involved with Nobu and the other stuff, like the ninjas. She was never involved with that. She was doing the heroin thing. Turns out she's also Hand, and now we have this group of Hand who are like, we're kind of good, but probably
Yeah,
not.
and then you have Nobu's hand, which are clearly very different to this hand. So I don't get why we got so many hands. Just have one. Or two at most, because I mean, I suppose people have two hands. But...
Yeah, this I got physically annoyed at this revelation, even though by the time it happened, you could see it coming. In fact, that was probably my biggest problem with it. Is not only does this twist feel stupid, and does it make me go, oh shit, more people at the hand? Great, that's what I wanted. Not only that, the reveal is so bad. He kind of gets it from Gao, and then he flat out just asks it. So the big moment where it's confirmed is just her kind of backing away, looking guilty. There's no moment in it. It's played for such a basic, simple scene.
Do you know what? Do you know what's even insulting about this? Most people, and we've seen, and we've even done stuff, compared it to a soap opera, right? It's like a soap.
That's what it feels like.
But this doesn't. This feels worse because at least in a soap, it has reveals. It always has them, like all the time, like shock, horror. She's cheated on him, you know. But it does it as a moment, and the music kicks in. It's like, oh, it's a reveal. This didn't even have that.
No, I'd still say this was a soap opera. It's just not the final scene of a soap opera. It's a mid scene of a soap opera.
But this should be a final scene.
Sure, but it still reminds me of something in a soap opera, just because of just the bullshit drama, and I can't imagine. Maybe it won't angry as much as it's clearly done us. But I find it hard to imagine that someone got to this reveal and went, "Oh, that was a clever twist."
Yeah, I can't figure out how someone can find this an exciting development.
It's so null and void. And Bakuto, notice the pause. Bakuto, before this episode, had one scene. Well, it was in one scene again at the end of the last one, I suppose. But like before that, it was in one scene. And then he's come back in the last episode, and all of a sudden he's this big character who's taken over for Gao. He's going to Harold, and he's making demands, and he's doing all this different stuff. And all of a sudden he's this big prominent figure. We're 4 episodes from the end.
And this is kind of what I was saying in the last one. Who's the final villain supposed to be? I'm guessing now it's supposed to be him, but it kind of feels like out of nowhere. Like it doesn't feel earned in any sense, because he's now not only is he the villain in terms of he's the head of this faction of the Hand, he's also taking over his business as well. So he's on all fronts. He is the villain.
Danny doesn't take it very well. He goes to one of their computer monitoring rooms where they've got cameras outside the dojo and various other places, and he starts wrecking the place in a true Tommy Wiseau destruction scene style. If you've seen the hit film The Room, not to be confused with Room with Brie Larson, The Room with Tommy Wiseau.
And also, I feel like the hit film is selling it far too much already. Even sarcastically.
I don't know, when you see that film, you feel like you've been hit in the face. It's the hit film, The Room. So he has a fit, and then there's a little fight with Bakuto. And yeah, and then the mysterious guy from last episode who assaulted the guy in the food truck, turns out he's not a bad guy. He's Davos. He's the best. He's the best friend that Danny's mentioned 3 times.
Yeah. I know Davos from the comics. It's like, oh, this is someone I know.
Well, that's great, but for me, he's been mentioned 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Couple of stories where Danny's been like, oh yeah, me and my friend Davos used to sneak off.
See, for me, it's like, oh, maybe they'll do something interesting. And then I'm like, well, why are you even thinking that?
I'll give it this, though. He had one of the best lines of the show, though.
He
looked at Danny in the eye and said, you're the worst Iron Fist ever.
Yeah, he's damn right.
So that was accurate. And it did lead to the 2, or one kind of extended, but because there's the hallway bit first, but it led to the best fight in the entire show so far.
Definitely.
When they get outside and Bakuto gets all of his students and henchmen to start fighting them, there's actually some good moves. They jump over each other. There's actually emotion in it because Danny's angry. It's the first time he's fought angry, so it feels like there's actually some passion in the fight for a change.
Which is really ironic because the whole thing is he's angry, so he's not at full strength. You know, he can't center his chi and summon his Iron Fist.
Well, he's not got his power strength, but as a human fighter, he's...
Sure, but what I mean is the whole idea of him being at full power, so to speak.
Oh yeah, but he doesn't need to be at full power to fight, though.
No, but I'm just saying it's disappointing that it takes this to get like when he's at full power should be impressive like this.
Oh yeah,
It's weird how this isn't.
Yeah, it's not been yet, but it's still the best fight scene in the show so far.
It did make me laugh as well when he tries to power up his fist and it doesn't work. And he kind of just shakes it like it'll turn on if he just gives it a little wobble. I don't know what that was meant to be, but
because do you know why this fight worked? Not only was he angry, so there was actually some emotion in it for a change. The camera kept moving. The camera because when they stood back to back and they each did their own stance, right? Wide shot, that looks goofy as shit. But the camera kept spinning around them and cutting into spins on either side of them, and it gave it this feeling of momentum.
And did exactly what it was supposed to do for once.
Right? And they've got these spotlights that keep moving around, which gives it a sense of movement as well. Like it was doing these things that made it a kind of fun fight. It wasn't the best fight in the world, but it was easily the best one in this show so far.
If that had been like from the start, we wouldn't have been complaining about the fighting. No. We might not have been going, oh, it's amazing, but we never would have had any proper complaints.
From what I've heard from people who've seen the whole show, it's not like this good for the rest of the show. It's back to normal for the rest.
Oh, of course it is. What a surprise.
But for one shining moment, the fighting wasn't that bad. And like I say, it felt like a consolation prize after the bullshit reveal. Now, the other part of the reason why the reveal is kind of bullshit is that I didn't really feel like Colleen the entire time. Until Gao mentioned something very specific last episode, it didn't feel at all the entire season that she was hiding that she was secretly part of the Hand. It didn't.
No, she had her... Do you know what makes no sense about it to me? The whole thing at the start was that she was frustrated. She never gets to fight. You know, she doesn't get to do anything. But she's part of the Hand. She can't go, hey, I want to be assigned on a different mission for a while.
Well, because the way I took it, she's part of recruitment. She's getting these kids in her dojo and she's picking the best and sending them off for the scholarships. So I get what her job is. Now, I will give them a little bit of credit because I went back and checked. Episode 5 is the first time that the Hand is mentioned in front of her. It's when the chemist guy, he's like sort of dying on the floor and he's like, they've got my daughter. And he's like, who? And he's like, the Hand. And Claire, goes into her little spiel about, oh, the Hand, we're screwed. I've fought the Hand before. Now, I'll criticise it a little bit because I feel like the camera should have went to Colleen to properly get a reaction so that when you go back and see it, it's like, oh, right, there's a double meaning there to what she says.
Right.
But to their credit, or at least to the actress's credit, the way she does react, and if you're paying attention to her, and it's kind of hard because it's kind of tries its hardest to keep her off camera, which I think is deliberate. But
it's weird, isn't it?
The one moment you do see her when she's on frame, and it's a kind of wide shot, she's not like the focus of the frame, she does sort of back away and say, what? As if she's confused, as if she doesn't understand that the Hand does this kind of thing. Like, the Hand doesn't do heroin, the Hand doesn't kidnap kids so their parents will do stuff.
Yeah.
To her, that's not what they do. So at the very least, I will give them that. Her reaction to the first time, when I went back and checked it, it played with what we know about her now. The problem I still have, though, is that up until Gao mentioned it, when she was like held captive last episode,
there was no hint towards it at all.
There was nothing. Sure, Bakuto came and spoke to her, but that wasn't necessarily Hand-esque. You didn't necessarily get the sense that she was a part of something evil.
No, we said he might have been. Just because, well, you're introducing someone else. They probably are.
He's probably going to end up fighting Danny. Because I almost felt like it was going to be a love triangle, to be honest, the way they spoke. That first time he popped up.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that.
But I hated this reveal. This twist pissed me off to no end.
Honestly, if I wasn't committed to this just for these reviews, and for some reason I'd managed to get to episode 10 without that, this is where I would just stop. I'd be like, nope, I'm done. I'm not even finishing at this point. That close to the end.
Yeah. Colleen, at least obviously, is conflicted because she does like Danny, and she sees that everyone's acting kind of evil when they go to attack them because they're very vicious with them. So she actually hits the door control to let them out. So Davos and Danny do get out, and it ends with a little confrontation between the two of them where Davos is like, I'm taking you back to Kunlun. They deserve to know why you abandoned them, you tosser.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about this because I thought Danny said, Kunlun, the door's only open every 12 or 15 years or whatever it was. That's the only time that the path's open. Yeah,
but who's to say that's only like a day? That could be a whole year.
I mean, I suppose.
Because Davos even says it's open right now with no protector. So I just get the sense that it's open for maybe not a whole year, maybe it's 6 months, whatever. But
right, okay, that's fair enough.
Well, you thought there was like 1 10-minute period every 15 years?
Well, I don't know how long it was, but it just seems like this has been a while.
Not really though.
That's been about a week, isn't it?
Yeah, in real time, the show's not actually taking place over much more than a couple of weeks. I don't think.
That's true. That's
So,
true.
yeah, I think that's fair. So that's kind of how we end. Bizarre.
I did like Davos breaking the kid's leg. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, again, he was like, he's not holding back.
I like him more than I do Danny already.
Yeah, so he's making more sense. He's calling him out on his shit, and he's making sense. So, hey ho. Elsewhere in the show, there was no Ward this episode, but we did have Colleen. Not Colleen, sorry. Joy. We had Joy and Harold together. Yes. And they're kind of bonding. He's explaining everything. Again, this scene went on far too long at the start. And then they're together again, and the next scene they're in, and he's explaining stuff. And then he wants to celebrate. He's like, "Oh, I've got this. I can't remember what drink it was, but he pulls out some port or something like that. He's like, "Oh, this is aged 15 years. It's supposed to be the best of the best." And he's like, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's drink this." And she's like, and he's pouring the drink, and she's like, "No, Dad, I don't. No, we'll get too much to talk about. I don't want to drink. No, Dad." And then he gets pissed off. It's basically another "Have you got vanilla" moment, and he smashes the bottle, and she looks terrified.
Understandably, to be fair.
Understandably, he's lost his rag. The problem is though with this is that for the rest of the episode, it doesn't feel like she remembers that he did this.
Yeah, she's kind of back to working with him.
Yeah, she just kind of goes back to working with him, and he goes out of his way to kill Wilkins, who's the guy who's been working, who got them out of the company and stuff. Which, by the way, is it just me, or I mean, Luke Cage is kind of a separate thing because like most of the cast was black, right? All three of the other shows in season 1 have all had a sort of elderly black, not elderly, but sort of upper middle aged black guy with a goatee who all have a similar kind of description about them. Wilkins, you had Ben in Daredevil, and you had the cop in Jessica Jones. And spoilers for those shows if you've not seen them, but all three of them died around exactly this point in the season. I'm pretty sure it was episode 10.
I feel like it might have been 11 for maybe some of them.
I'm pretty sure it was 10 for Jessica Jones.
I feel like Daredevil was 11, but maybe I'm wrong. It's been a couple of years.
But it doesn't really matter. 10 or 11, it's about the same time. What the hell? Why is there... It's almost like the casting call read for the exact same type of like person, right? You know, African American, about this age, goatee. They might have all been wearing glasses at various points as well. It's weird. It's weird.
Might as well have all been played by the same actor, to be honest. At this point,
it is super weird. I don't know why, but it's something that really stuck out to me. This guy felt a little bit different in that he was more of an antagonist to some of the characters, whereas the other two were very much good characters. You cared when they two died. Not that I think he deserved to die, this guy, but I didn't connect to him either.
No, it was just there.
But anyway, Harold shows up at work and he's like, "What? You're meant to be dead." And he's like, "Nah, you're giving my family their job back, and the easiest way to do this is to make you commit suicide." And then he shoots him in the head. So, boom. And then we see in the boardroom the next day how Joy got to the boardroom when she's not supposed to be allowed in the building, but she's there giving a speech.
I mean, I feel like she petitioned them for a meeting. Like, hey, look, you're going to want to meet with me after this. But then one of the board members just committed suicide. Would they not be like, hey, maybe we should think about this first and, deal with the PR relations to this, to the headline?
Oh, hold on. They didn't know they'd committed suicide.
Well, how...
They say that in the scene.
Weird.
She announces it in the scene.
Yeah, you're right, which is weird because why would she know and not them?
Yeah, it's stupid. And she basically gives this little speech like, give it back to the people who drove to record revenue,
Profits.
Profits, stock, whatever. Pick your goddamn buzzword. The Meachums did this, reinstate us, and they vote yes. And I'm like, why? Nothing she said there changes anything about anything that's happened.
Nothing has changed. Literally, they got rid of her, and they were like, "Oh, go on then, we'll have you back."
I didn't understand it at all. And then apparently Harold's making people not be suspicious of him, despite the fact that he is the most suspicious person on the planet. It doesn't only just work on Danny, because Joy even's like, "Dad, I want to make sure. You didn't have Wilkins killed, did you?" And then he says the exact words, "I did not have Wilkins killed."
Oh no, no. What the best part is, I told you I would never lie to you, and I mean that. I did not have him killed.
Well, he didn't have him killed. He killed him.
He didn't lie, technically. Technically speaking.
That was a very accurate answer.
Yeah.
She wanted an answer. She got an accurate answer, and there you go.
He's getting away with the technicality on that one, isn't he?
But here's my thing though. So she had to ask that question, and then he immediately follows up with, "But there is one person we probably will have to destroy." Bakuto. And the scene cuts. The scene cuts from there, right? And that's fine. But then I was thinking about it, like, wait a minute. Joy was never into this shady shit before. It was all Ward, right? She's just found out about her dad. She never wanted to do anything illegal. She had the moral conscience. She made a point of asking if he'd had someone killed because that would be a problem for her.
Yeah.
In fact, I think she actually says after he says that he didn't, that she was, quote, happy to hear that.
Yeah, I guess in this sense, destroyed does not necessarily mean killed. It's just, take him out of in a business sense.
She just feels really drawn into the shady side of things really quickly here. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
For what little character she has, this feels out of character.
Yeah.
But then again, her dad just came back from the dead. She's maybe conflicted.
Maybe should be questioning that a bit more still, to be honest. He's been dead for 12 years.
Yeah.
13 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, in fact, going back to how we talked about the scenes at the place with Bakuto and Danny, and like how they kept saying things that we already knew to each other, but they were explaining to each other. Again, first scene with Harold and Joy is he's explaining why he's here, and he's explaining everything, and I'm like, we know all this.
This is the thing. It's like, yeah, we get that Joy needs to find out, start the story, cut away. We know the rest of it. We don't need to hear it all again.
Or start the scene with her going, "Wow, that's why you're here." This
Yeah,
is a lot to process.
Cut around it either way. But
yeah.
It's just not necessary to have this 4-minute chunk or whatever bollocks it was.
But no, yeah, we had to sit and listen to him explain everything we already knew because she didn't know it. But we knew it, so we don't have to see it. You just cut in, cut out, whatever.
Like, if they did that in this episode, it cut nothing else except the information we'd been told before, I think we'd have lost about 15-20 minutes.
Possibly. I feel like it's been a problem the whole show, but it felt especially egregious in this one.
I think it's getting worse as it goes on because there's more stuff we already know.
And there keeps being characters who have been left out of the loop in one plotline all season.
When they get back, they're going to have to tell all this stuff from the last... Whatever, all this stuff to Claire. So we're going to have to sit through it all again next episode.
Claire's going to have to hear about everything that happened with this new hand revelation. It's just, Joy had to hear about everything because she was left out of this plotline all season, and so on.
And then, obviously, Danny's being taken to Kunlun, so when he gets back, he's going to have to explain to Claire and or Colleen about what happened over there.
Yeah. Ward's out of the game right now. When they see Ward again, they're going to have to explain to him a lot of stuff if they want to.
Yeah. Oh, man. So much dialogue, it's just completely pointless.
And I want to make this clear. The complaints that we're making here are not, oh, it's just all talking and no action, right? That is not the complaint. All talking can be riveting.
Oh yeah, it can. See some of our other reviews of other shows for that.
It can be riveting. Go watch Better Call Saul. Watch a Tarantino movie. Two people talking to each other can be edge of the seat, excitement. It can be even back and forth.
Even to keep it in like the Netflix TV realm, 3%. That was basically people in a room.
Oh yeah, sure, but that's a different language, so it's a bit harder to take.
Yeah, I just mean in the sense that it's just dialogue. There's no action at all, and it's fantastic. Whereas this is just pointless dialogue is the problem.
Yeah. There's like you can set an entire movie in a room with two people talking to each other, and it could be enthralling if you write it correctly, if you write it and have twists and turns and have the words mean something. Instead, most of the show is reiterating information that we've already heard, and in some cases it's information that started as just information. We never actually got to see certain things. We never got to see why someone was feeling a certain way. They just told us they were feeling a certain way. It's terrible writing. The writing in this show is absolutely abysmal, and I hate this episode. It was really, really boring, this was anger-inducing.
I haven't felt this much anger with this show since I did in episode 2, and I was pretty angry after that episode.
This is worse though, because this is look.
It is much worse.
The season's been building up to this. God damn it.
This is what the season is. Like, I finally know what the end game for the season is, and I absolutely hate it.
Oh dear. Well, let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Get our individual Twitters on the screen for everyday ramblings. That's us, guys. Thanks for watching. Have you got vanilla?